name's Lane Driscoll, and I'm the host of the Daily Report. Tonight, I have a very interesting story about a decline in SAT scores in Hell, Michigan. And I have a very interesting guest about an experiment that she performed over the past few years. Her name is Sarah Bonk. Sarah, would you like to join me? Hi, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I kind of want to talk about this first story about a student out of Hell High School. His name was Brian Robinson. He was a straight A state championship swimmer. I mean, almost the perfect type of student. And then what exactly happened with him?
Well, he was training in the Lake Highland near Hell, Michigan, and he was training for a state meet, and he began to have these occasional headaches, which led him to go on, and he actually experienced some decline in his school grades. And this kid is a straight A honors student, never gotten a B in his life, and his grades just started slipping, and the next thing you know, his SAT score declined a lot.
So you said that his academic performance was really slipping and how he's such an honor student. Do you have a possible explanation for this? I mean, your research obviously has everything to do with this, but I'd like an explanation.
Well, there was this one rainstorm in the early spring of 2001. I want to say it's March of 2001, and it occurred over Lake Highland and over Hell, Michigan, and it changed the water's chemical composition, causing mental functions to change drastically. And we think that the rain came from car factories' pollution in Detroit, so it could be acid rain that fell on Lake Highland. And the SAT scores in Hell have since declined and have considerably declined over the past couple months.
So you said that Hell's SAT scores have been dropping, and that's been consistent in the past several years, ever since 2001. Is Lake Highland a type of place where a bunch of high school students? I mean, is it just a fishing lake, or is it like a party scene?
I think of it as just a place where high school kids go and hang out during their summer and enjoy the hot weather, and they enjoy dipping their toes into the water and having that water nearby, so that way they don't have to go all the way to the coast to go into some water. They have that lake right nearby, and they can go and hang out with their friends and just have a good time.
Sorry about that, folks. We had some technical difficulties. So back onto our discussion about your experiment regarding the Hell's SAT scores. Do you possibly believe that the acid rain at Lake Highland could explain why their SAT scores have been declining, even though you only have one case in Brian suggesting this?
I actually do believe that this is a logical explanation for the decline in SAT scores. I am also able to base this off of a simple quasi-experiment that I did in 2001 following when I found out about the Brian Robinson case.
And what exactly did this quasi-experiment consist of?
Well, I was actually able to do some research, and I found out that the swim team in Hell High School actually practiced in Lake Highland and wanted to improve upon their abilities. So they decided to swim in Lake Highland, and I saw that their SAT scores for the following years declined. And I also looked at the SAT scores of the Hell High School track team, and I saw that they stayed about the same. So I think this suggests a correlation.
So this is kind of how you developed your hypothesis, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do after that in order to kind of solidify that your hypothesis was in fact correct?
Well, I then set up a true experiment that consisted of getting people from Hell High School and randomly assigning them to groups of swimming in Lake Highland and not swimming in Lake Highland. And I randomly assigned 100 students into groups of 50, and one went and swam in Lake Highland, and one did not swim in Lake Highland. And I monitored their SAT scores for just about 4 years.
Okay, and what were the findings that you were able to find from this experiment?
I found that my hypothesis was indeed correct, and it was very consistent with the quasi-experiment that the people who swam in Lake Highland, their SAT scores declined over the next few years, and the people who did not swim in Lake Highland, their SAT scores stayed about the same and even increased a little bit. So I'm thinking that my hypothesis was correct when I say that the water contamination of Lake Highland actually declined, or
So the water contamination in Lake Highland seemed to suggest that it's a factor in what, not necessarily causing it, but it's a factor in why in the decline of the SAT scores in Hell.
yes, I definitely think is a factor. It may not necessarily have caused every decline in the SAT scores, but it is definitely part of the reason why.
Well, hopefully they can get that water cleaned up. That way those students can actually begin to focus and don't have to worry about their test scores being affected.
Well, I really hope so, because that is not a very good thing.
All right, well, I'd like to thank you for stopping in and explaining your experiment, and hopefully this gives some insight to our viewers and everything about why this small little town in Michigan seems to be having so much trouble.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.